Come in.
Zach, I'm having such a great day. First, I slept in, and then I was super comfortable, and when I got up, I decided to make pancakes. And then I thought, you know, the only thing that would make today better is if I went and got an energy drink, and there was one waiting for me in the fridge. I feel so good.
Yeah, me too. It's been a great day. I've got my $13.99 ELO back in chess. Patrick Mahomes won the award for Best Male Athlete and Best NFL Player in the ESPYs. And other things you wanted me to say in the script.
Zach, my very good special best friend, do you want to watch a movie?
What movie?
Well, it's a long CGI feel-good sort of movie.
You know what, Walter, my sweet precious boy? Let's watch it.
Yeah.
3 hours later.
I love that movie! That was really good! That water stuff looked really good.
I really like the mechs.
Those fight scenes were so cool.
Yeah, and the story made sense.
That was the most I've enjoyed watching a movie in a while.
Yeah. Pacific Rim is a fun movie. Now do you want to watch Avatar: The Last Waterbender?
3 hours later.
Do you think this glass is strong enough to withstand throwing the television out of the window?
The perfect synopsis of this movie was provided by my friend when we first watched it. So the story is, my friend and I wanted to watch a movie, and it was either between The Fugitive, which I haven't seen in a long time, or the next Avatar movie, because they were both available to watch. And for whatever reason, we chose Avatar: The Way of Water. I wasn't excited about watching it, but whatever, let's watch it. And I didn't expect it to be good at all, but I was so disappointed. I knew it'd be a long movie, and I've heard about how long it is and everything, but man, it was so just to watch. So Avatar: The Way of Water Wait is a slog. It of course is technically immensely impressive. It looks great. Several times out loud, my friend Zach commented how great it looked, and then how much it sucked, that it just was a waste. And like, yeah, it's a waste. A lot of people, really talented people, worked really damn hard, I'm sure, and they did a great job, but it's just such a shame that what they were contributing to was just bleh. I said to him, hey, we need to watch the movie again because I want to elicit some reactions from you to try to get out what you said the first time around. He did not want to watch it again. I was like, I don't want to watch it either, but like I felt so troubled by how much it sucked. I was like, I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm gonna make a long form video breaking it down. I really want to do it, and I really want your opinions again, because watching the movie with you was part of an integral experience for this movie for me, so you need to be involved. I want to record us watching it the second time, and I'll get some comments from us, but mostly from you. So this video is a little bit different. It's gonna have like footage or commentary from when we watched it the second time. But then I had to watch it a third time, tits and ass. Normally with these about videos, I like to break down movies I know really well or have watched many times because I want to watch them. But this is the first bad movie. I'm gonna put it at bad. Okay, here we go. Alexa, turn on desk mode. Good. No, it's bad. It's really bad. The headphones are going on. The glasses are on. The mood lighting is on. I think this is the only avatit we see. We do get one avatit. I realized when I was watching with Zach that that's probably a baby in a mocap suit. So they had a baby mocap suit. They must have. Okay, so I'm going to call this a snap zoom. It's technically just an optical zoom, but it's technically a digital zoom because the entire environment is 100% CGI. So I realized this is a stylistic choice, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I didn't realize until I went back to... That's right, I also had to watch the first Avatar movie after I watched this one for the third time. Oh, it was awful. Moral story is, this movie employs a lot of what I'm going to call snap zooms because they're usually used to this effect, like this. It's a stylistic choice. It's fine. I personally don't like it, but because there are so many of them, I'm going to go ahead and point them all out. So this shot was reused from the first movie, which is not important really. It's only important insofar as they recreated a lot of shots, like a lot of them, and I'll talk about that later, but this is the only reused shot I'm aware of. I'll compare them. But when you look back, the quality looks about the same, which is impressive for like a 13-year gap or however.
Spider, take your spare!
I'm going to the village!
I didn't know spare masks were a thing. I'll bet there were many situations where they would have been useful to have a second mask. In fact, that could have spun on the reasons as to why you would take a second. But are there occasions later in this movie where two masks would have been helpful? The second mask thing, I guess, if it's a criticism, is never mentioned or of any relevance ever again.
I hate you, Todd Divinity, Noah! Penis face!
seriously, I don't know what she said. It sounds like penis face, so that's what I'm going to go with.
I hate you times infinity, Noah! Penis face!
Okay, this is probably my biggest criticism insofar as this would have made the movie better. So the biggest problem, and I'll get to it, is the bloat, the water weight, if you will. If you cut that out, all the bloat, you'd have a story kind of, but that story needs fixing. And the biggest thing they need to fix is our protagonist Jake and his son, Angel Boy? Nateum. I remembered. Okay, jeez. See, this shows how much I don't care about the characters. We get one scene in this entire 3-hour-long movie showing a positive relationship between the father and son that lasts, I believe, 24 seconds. You devote like an hour to the way of waterbending, but we get 20 seconds of this. So I'm sorry, I don't care about this kid. I know he's supposed to be the perfect son or whatever, and therefore when he dies, spoilers!
Spoilers.
I forgot to say that. Yeah, spoilers. Don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything. He freaking dies, which is the only consequence of this whole movie, which I'll criticize when we get to that part of the movie. The point is, they didn't develop enough time with him. It's such a waste. Yeah, I'll come back to this whole him and the kids thing. This is the only part in the movie that was supposed to make me laugh, and it made me laugh. So I'll give it that. It worked one time.
But the thing about happiness, it can vanish in a heartbeat.
Shows Avatar 2, Way of Water in the sky.
The spacecraft stuff looks really cool, but it's also interchangeable with most any other sci-fi. So if I can get away with it. Yeah, I'm watching this and I'm like, I wonder if these are the bad guys. The prevailing message I got when Zach and I were watching it the first time was nature good. And it just gets repeated. And this is like, yeah, sorry, man. I can't muster up much enthusiasm for something I don't like. Later, I comment on why these mech suits aren't being used because they're the mech suits from the first movie, but you never really see them again for the rest of the movie. They do exist in this timeline. The suits are here, but they're never being used, and I don't know why. Talk about that later. I can't imagine what use those glow sticks are to a big bulldozer. Because once they clear the ship, then they don't have directions anymore. So you're literally being directed on this little ramp. Like, that's a nitpick, I know, but I was just like, what are you doing? So Zach commented that Natiri's face, for the most part during the movie, has a spectrum of emotion between sad or angry. And that's mostly true. She does smile sometimes, but generally she's just here to be sad or angry or somewhere in between. So if I'm not lazy, I'll make a graph, pendulum, whatever, showing her range of anger versus sad. This is the only time card I noticed. And I was like, I must have missed it because I don't know how long it's been between the events of this movie and the first movie. Presumably as long as it took for the movies to come out, 13 years, that makes sense because the kids are teenagers. But if it was addressed, it would have been the narration and I never picked it up. And maybe they never communicated it. Maybe it's not important. Maybe we're just supposed to go, oh, the kid's a teenager, therefore it's been 13 years instead of, I don't know, 50. Because they don't have to have kids the moment the first movie ends. So I have no idea how much time has passed. I don't know if it matters. I would think it matters because in the events of this movie, the Earth is dying.
Earth is dying.
I don't know. Either the movie sucks and it didn't address it, or it sucks because it didn't bother to make me care.
It's me, Corporal Winfrey.
This confused the piss out of me. I was like, why is he snarling? He shouldn't be snarling. Because as we find out, he's literally been data cloned, whatever, as a human. When he wakes up, he thinks he's a human. And that's why he attacks the other avatars. So there's two explanations. One is the people who made the movie forgot, and they're stupid, which is what I like to think. Or, this is also stupid, and I don't like this one, that snarling is involuntary. It just comes with being an avatar. But that doesn't really fit when all the other characters do it when they do it. So as far as I can tell, up until he's been told that he's an avatar and chooses to try to take on the Na'vi ways, him snarling, at least right here, was like, what is happening? This makes no sense. So a recurring theme is that the movie, despite being dumb, is smart enough that the characters start becoming self-aware and they comment on the movie that we're watching.
Wow. Ain't this a bitch?
Here's this character whose name I don't remember ever, Miles Quidditch, something like that. He comments on the fact that basically somehow Palpatine returned. And now our villain that we killed off is back, and the first movie has less consequence now. He continues being self-aware when he gets tired of his own exposition dump.
See this? This is all your memories and your personality. Right. We're going to send this back to Earth where you're growing in a lab as we speak. We're going to imprint you with it. And then... Hey.
This is the only time it happens in the movie that I'm aware of, but he stops talking, but his lips keep moving. So he did say something else, but it got cut off. And I just, whenever that happens, I'm like, well, what did he say? What was cut?
Your humble narrator gives you what you won't remember is my death because it hasn't happened yet. And it ain't gonna.
This is a really oxymoronic and contradictory statement. In one sentence, he says, I'm going to die, but actually no. Moving on. I wondered why the train just fell to the tracks, but then I realized that's probably like a safety mechanism where it detects the bridges out ahead or whatever, and so it tries to slam the brakes and slow down. That's cool. At least that's a lot better than just continuously Looney Tunes floating and flying off. It's a cool mechanic.
Snap zoo.
I get the animation is hard, but I notice when something doesn't fall correctly and this train car just gets sucked to the ground. It makes sense that there was a speed ramp from slow motion to real speed, but there is no speed change. It just kind of... So here's a recreated shot. My brain went, oh, I recognize that shot. And I'm sure that was the point. They recreated a lot of shots, presumably because it's nice to have homages to your film, but it does it to the point to where it's like, well, why didn't you just straight up copy the whole film? I think there's too much. Hey, remember this shot? Can someone convince me that this arrow's path of travel makes sense? It kind of arches up, which, I mean, the person on the bird flying by is like going by really fast. So the arrow probably should just be straight with the trajectory of the bird thing, but it kind of just does this. You can see in the frames.
Snap zoo.
So this was really funny and enjoyable for Zach and me because Neytiri shoots an arrow through the windshield and gets the pilot, which I know happened in the first movie. And I admit it didn't happen the way I thought. I thought they literally did this exact same shot, but actually in the first movie, she shoots, the arrow goes to the windshield, and the camera is never in the cockpit showing this perspective. But they do this same shot in this movie several times to the point where it becomes like a joke. So I think this is the first one. But as it kept happening, Zach and I were cheering it on.
Taking the whole case! We're taking mags, the RPGs, the stingers. Everybody got that?
So one big criticism is that this movie doesn't do show not tell as you should. It does tell, it does show not tell, which is the right thing, and then it does show and tell, which is actually worse. So right now it's doing show and tell, which is really annoying. I honestly think that's worse than tell because it treats the audience like they're stupid. There's a rocket launcher and they grab it, and then he goes, "This is a rocket launcher and we're grabbing it." Pisses me off.
Look at the golf balls on that ship. Yeah. Literally golf balls.
What are those golf sticks called? Putts? Golf clubs. Put golf club antenna above.
Yeah.
This team of avatars could have been fine if they were new characters, specifically Miles. Like, it's a new threat. We don't know his methods or his vendetta or his skills or whatever. We're building something new here. And there's a team of bad avatars coming after you. That's not a bad idea. It's different than the first movie, but because it's the same character, it's like, oh. So this is a location title, and I never noticed it. And apparently there are several of them. I never noticed them. So again, this is an issue of me being stupid or the movie being dumb and providing something that doesn't matter and I can't be bothered to notice because these locations don't matter anyway. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this and see if you can hear some kind of object in this sequence. I swear I hear a socket wrench. I need to go grab my socket wrench to show you. Oh, socket wrenches. I love a good socket wrench.
Oh, socket wrenches, son. I love a good socket wrench.
So it sounds just like that, the thing in the background. I thought, well, that's probably an instrument, but it's not to the beat for a while. And then it sounds like it is to the beat. And then just when the beat comes in, I hear the bird flapping its wings to the beat. So it's hard to tell. Regardless of whether or not it's an instrument, it just sounds like a socket wrench.
You know what really sucks, though? Is you can breathe Earth air for hours, and I can only breathe your air for like 10 seconds.
Everybody got that? I'm trying not to do so many everybody got that jokes, but this movie does that so much. If you watch the first movie, you'd know that. Yeah, we got to address the audience of this new movie in case they are not aware of that mechanic, but that is so damn clunky. Clearly her avatar was impregnated by the tree. That's what I think.
Yep. This is when you edit a picture of Groot like smirking.
Guys, I mean, sometimes it's not so great to know who your father was.
Ugh, that is the most clunky dialogue in the whole movie. This poor guy, this character's just the worst character. Doesn't help that he has bad dialogue, and it's not the actor's fault, but like almost everything he says is dumb, man. This movie just upsets me to the point of apathy so quickly. Yeah, here's another location title, Bridgehead City. Remember that name because it'll never be important ever again.
Snap Zoo.
Isn't that exactly what the general's doing in the first movie when Jake Sully meets him? He's like practicing or something, and Jake Sully walks up to the general right there, and
oh yeah,
and he was wearing a mech suit. That's right, he was in one of those mech suits in the background. Yeah, I thought this is how the Avatar met the freaking general, whoever, in the first movie, but I checked and it's not quite the same. In the first movie, when Jake went to meet the general dude, he was bench pressing, but then as that sequence goes on, he finishes in the mech suit. So it's not quite the same, but it's pretty similar. So that's not quite copying the first movie, but it's mirroring the first movie, I think.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of...
I hate multi-screen exposition dumps. This is a trope that happens a lot. We need our character to be caught up on information, so let's put up a bunch of videos all at the same time because no one ever learns that way, but it's a trope and I hate it.
Really good drone footage of just the things that have happened. Look at that.
I remember you saying that. And we have this excellent drone footage of all this stuff. We lost a lot of good cameramen.
Yeah.
Snap Zoo.
We believe your blue team will be perceived as indigenous and will not trigger the immune response.
That's a really dumb way to say we want you to sneak in, or you should sneak in, because they don't sneak in. They basically just go in guns blazing, and I'll get to that, but that pissed me off too.
We're entering hostile airspace.
What in the ass? I thought the whole point was that when you go in there, you get freaking sky bombed or whatever, so drop them off outside of airspace. Whatever, it's not important. I don't care.
That laugh. He goes...
Here's that swinging shot of the tree bridge thing. I know that existed in the first movie.
Oh God! This is to show you that the plants are still cool.
Nature is good, remember? Oh man. Okay, so Kiri nature in my notes. There's so many of these. Ugh. It was funny when we watched it because we were just like shitting on it, but it's annoying here by myself. But they keep doing this Kiri nature thing, like clearly showing she is
the chosen one.
And there's too many. It gets to the point where it becomes obnoxious, and then this happens so many times that it's like funny again. But they'll do this thing where they'll show her manipulating nature to show that she has some connection or control of it. So this isn't like recreating a shot, but bringing back something from the first movie, The Wolves. It's not the same like recreated shot, but the same idea. Not one of the worst examples. Not 30 seconds later, where we leave her being connected to nature, we come back and she's connected to nature even more. Which, of course, is copying the first movie when the freaking sky squids were landing on Jake, so.
That's way too big for a human. Avatars? Maybe.
Avatars look exactly... How would you know with the footprints and not an Avi or an Avatar?
I think they say it's because they have 5 fingers and 5 toes.
Okay, that would make sense. But cool.
They're wearing boots.
Well, Navi don't wear boots. I guess Oh, okay, so they're huge human boots, therefore there can't be humans, they could be avatars. Okay.
That makes sense.
It still makes sense. Cool, sweet. I'm just so used to the movie not making sense, and I'm so happy when that made sense.
Yeah.
So Zach brought up a good point. He brought up a good question about the braid. So every avatar has a braid, and at the end of your braid is those pink neuron things that connect to whatever. So he was wondering, how exactly does that work? Do you grow the hair and then the neuron thingies grow within the hair, or you have the braids and then you grow, or the neurons, you grow the hair around it? Like, you have to have the braid, but is the hair around the neurons in the braid necessary?
Thing's dead in the shit, Colonel. So we're waiting.
Everybody got that? I say that for the kids.
We were dead before.
We died once before.
Do you remember that?
All right, let's get to work using our brand new avatar bodies because we died before right here.
Come on!
Stop it.
Stop it.
I don't care. Stop it. They do the little sound stinger to be like, oh, be scared. And what's worse is they frame it up to let you know that there's going to be something there behind her. So it's like insulting to even try to pretend like it's going to be of any kind of scare. It's just like you're like half asleep with apathy at this point.
Snap zoom.
Show me your fingers.
I called this, therefore it wasn't funny. I knew right away he was going to do it. So, I mean, it is possible to know something's going to happen and it's still funny, but this is an example of something that's supposed to be funny that was not funny. He should not know Na'vi. He woke up, presumably very recently, thinking he was a human. And if you think you're a human, you don't know Na'vi, or his character didn't know Na'vi, as far as we knew in the first movie. So he should know Na'vi, meaning he would have had to have learned Na'vi between when he woke up and he got here, which is super unlikely. And if he did, he would have had to have learned the phrases he needed to know, which would mean that if he chose to learn the phrase, "Where is your father?" he would expect to be finding kids, specifically the kids of Jake. It's like, what? So yeah, no, I think that's wrong. I think it's really weird that he's holding some of his braids, or dreads, I should say. He's holding some of his dreads in the place of where braids would be. It's just weird. Like, if you were in the habit of restraining Na'vi, I guess that'd make sense to go for where the braid would be, but he's not stupid. He knows it's a human, and no one ever grabs human hair like that to restrain somebody. So there's something's wrong there. Miles? Spider? Miles Morales? Spider-Man?
Snap zoom.
That was really nice of that security camera to include a snap zoom for dramatic effect that also followed the path of the arrow and showed us the point of impact. Very cool camera. I don't understand why he did that. I was so confused. So I saw that in the trailer, and in the trailer, that is Miles' avatar. And when you see that, even in the context of this movie, there's only one interpretation I have, which is I reject this person or who I was. I am this person now. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, he's a good guy now, or he's doubting what that guy went through, So yeah, that doesn't make sense. Then that would have been way more interesting if you can have him be evil or be the antagonist, but have him go through some actual conflict. The only conflict they kind of went with is the fact that he's trying to decide if he cares about his son or not. It doesn't mean anything that makes sense in the movie.
Here's what would be really funny is if on the new Avatar body they grow in a test tube, it had 3 scratches.
I was actually looking for the scratches on his avatar, and I thought, wait, that makes no sense.
It makes none at all, but it'd be really funny. I would have been like,
I wish. This movie's so dumb, they should have just done it.
Just go for it.
So the audience goes, oh, I know who that is.
Look at
and then you go, wait a minute.
It's because those scratches were genetic.
One of them pulls out a defensive glass barricade shield. She shoots through it. Shoots the guy. That's their weakness.
No, like a wild glass animal runs in front.
A glass animal? No, it's a comedy. So 2 guys are carrying a glass pane, and then she shoots through it.
I'll tell you what I would have liked. Like, all of this could have been redeemed if right now he got killed again.
That would be really funny.
And then he gets backed up again. Cause they were like, and then he's like, 5 minutes before we went on this excursion to find Jake Sully's kids, I decided to get this backup of my backup.
I'm going to keep throwing these goddamn Avatar bodies at him. We'll get him eventually.
We'll see what sticks to the wall, man.
And then another Avatar body shows up on the camera behind him. Why don't we all take our Avatar bodies and attack him at one time? That's a stupid idea, Avatar 39. We're going to go one by one, and we'll send one at a time with limited information. Just gets dumber and dumber. How it should have ended should do that. They could animate a bunch of him. Yeah. And send one at a time. One at a time. Yeah.
Snap zoom. Snap zoom. Snap zoom.
I hate that transition. It's lazy. I think its stupidness kind of sticks out to you if you loop it and just kind of watch it. This guy's computer is running slow. He reaches to tap the camera and just keeps tapping it, and it won't change after he's tapped it. Clearly, I know the actor is just tapping the screen, but when you look at what the character's doing in the movie, it looks like his computer, it's not working, it's too slow. So there's just so many weird shots of this spider actor guy where it looks like he's literally in a green screen room by himself, and I'll show those. But right now, this is really weird. This is an editing mistake.
Let me out of here!
They left in a shot of the actor asking to leave the movie set. Interior's voice in this movie is so raspy. I can't even do it, but it's like her voice is just giving out. You'll hear it throughout the whole movie. And this little bit of dialogue is a good example of it.
As he lay dying, and he said, protect the people. You're todo magdo.
Here's her face again, sad. Put that on the spectrum somewhere. And then still sad. That's probably really close to that last face. There's another title card that doesn't matter. Atula Metkaya Village. Did you know after watching this movie that that's what that place was called? You know, it's just like Kashyyyk or Tatooine. You want to go back to Atula Metkaya Village? Just rolls off the tongue, just sticks in your head.
Snap zoo, snap zoo.
So these things can swim and they can fly, which makes the bird thingies that the avatars were using like useless. I mean, presumably these things can't fly as high in the sky, but they can swim and they can fly. Now later you see that the freaking, I don't know why, the Forrest skybird things over there called, who knows what they're called, but those things can swim apparently. I didn't know that, like, which doesn't make sense. I mean, I know there's water that exists in the places where they come from, but not really because they come from sky forest worlds. But the fact that they can swim so adeptly is kind of weird. They seem almost interchangeable, if not inferior, because these water ones have bigger jaws that can bite the necks of those other bird things. So anyway, my brain goes, oh! It plays the noise of whatever. I'll show you what my brain is doing.
We will learn your ways.
The way of water? Those ways? Yeah, that was the character becoming self-aware. He just cringed.
Tono Wari was the chief of the Metkaina, the reef people.
I don't like that Jake is narrating at all in this moment. We can see by his stature that he's a big leader and that he carries respect.
Yeah.
And you can do that with the music. You can do that with like the...
Yeah, they're undercutting the work they've already done.
They did a good job visually and...
Yeah. Everybody got that?
Exactly.
Okay, this is an excellent example of show not tell. They actually did it right. She asks him a question, he asks a question, and then she like reluctantly agrees. You can see all of that. But this movie, like, sometimes it'll do that, and then as they're doing it, they'll say, do you want them to stay here? Can they stay here? Fine, they can stay here. That was a good example of show not tell, where it did it. It's capable. It just really sucks at it sometimes.
The two Kun have not returned yet. And anyway...
Habitable.
Did you see that guy throw the net?
What?
Look at this net. I bet your ass that is the exact same animation when they did a slow motion shot of him throwing the net at sunset. I'm going to compare them. I bet they reused that asset. Net. Okay, so if this didn't happen, it won't be in the edit, but I noticed that this net throwing thing happens twice. I'm excited to find out in editing if it's real. If that happened, I'll be very happy. It'll be hard to tell because one's in slow motion and one's not. But if you're watching it, it means it happened.
Now look at this net.
I want to go home. Oh, Duke.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, this is where the movie stops. When they go in the water, the movie stops. We're like almost at the hour mark, which is probably the start of the second act, roughly. Once this water crap starts happening, the movie just goes on hold. All this is literal water weight. And we cut between them swimming to something else, to them swimming to something else, to them swimming to something else, to them swimming. I swear it happens like 5, 6, 7, 8. You're like, oh my gosh, move on. It just, this is the biggest problem with the movie, hands down. The whole plot and everything just goes on hold, and everything just stops, and it sucks. And you just go, you fall asleep, and wow, man. Here's another shot of her being connected to nature and stuff. If you didn't figure it out yet, there's some kind of connection.
We go Navi, full tilt all the way. Eat Navi, we ride Navi, think Navi.
This is what pissed me off the most when I saw the movie. I was like, this is so dumb. You are an avatar. They don't know that you're coming. Don't wear the Marine outfit. Literally sneak in, get intel. And what do? They just like think. And what makes it worse is they like try to like freaking salvage it later. They're like, oh, we need to speak Navi and do whatever. It's like, you freaking retard to freaking. See, that made me the most mad. Just so dumb. So dumb. And they get caught because they get discovered as avatars because of what they're wearing.
They look like avatars.
Just so dumb, man. Rips his braid off.
White
surface. It's like, wow.
White tinnitus noise. Just.
When I was watching this, I liked imagining I was watching a better movie, like a Subnautica movie, which is a game I really love. And this creature actually looks a lot like a stalker from that game. So that's more fun in my head than what I'm actually watching. Okay, so I was watching this sequence and I was worried like, oh no, he might either just fall off right away and now he's just super inept, our hero, you know, our protagonist, or he just gets it right away and then there's no conflict. So I was like, well, the right thing to do would be he's good at it, you know, but he's not going to get it on his first try. And that's exactly how they portrayed it. I was worried. I mean, I'm coming off of so many movies that just let you down by like crapping on their protagonists or legacy characters, whatever, I guess. But this little sequence of him trying to ride and failing is handled correctly. So he falls off underwater and the dude somehow reacts to him even though he's underwater as if he can see him when he can't.
Oh, is she connected with nature?
I don't know.
I can't tell.
I need to see 3, 4, or 5 more shots like this one to be for sure.
I've only seen like 4 of these, and we're like not even an hour in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to tell us something.
What could it possibly try to communicate?
Understand.
Yeah.
I'm too dumb. No, that's
If only.
Jake Sully comes on. My daughter was always connected with
Imagine flickering a flame.
Imagine flickering a flame.
That's what she said.
How do you flicker a flame? Like a flame is a thing that flickers, but you can't.
You could say, imagine a flickering flame at best, but not imagine flickering a flame.
Flick your flame.
That's such a weak noise. Make that noise when I brush my teeth and I gurgle water. If he decided to adapt the culture and that it was necessary in this moment to snarl at it, that's also stupid. It doesn't make sense. I imagine this being a romantic scene between the two of them. They start falling for each other. The movie that we had in our head watching this was better than the one that we were actually watching. They're acting like he's dead and all dejected, and Spider's walking with his head down all sad as if he's dead, which is just stupid for a couple reasons. Spider certainly wouldn't be upset about it. It's literally just done for dramatic effect and it's framed as such so that he can come right back. And I can't imagine anyone in the audience going, is he dead? He's dead. He's dead. And then being surprised when he flies back up. It's just so cheap and lazy. And
this is when the 4th clone comes out. I backed myself up before I'm about to go try
diving with the bird off the cliff. I backed up my conscience in case I didn't make it. So the one that comes up is a different one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The way of water has no beginning and no end.
I've watched this movie 3 times and I still don't know what the way of water is.
The sea is around you and in you.
I think she's describing the Force.
Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
The sea gives and the sea takes.
The sea is always right.
The sea is always right.
Life to death, darkness to light.
The world turns and we turn with him. Plans disappear. Dreams take over.
Hey, look, she's doing something with nature. There's something there, I think. I don't know. Is this something I need to know? Have I got it yet?
Are you some kind of freak?
I don't know how to fix this, but bullies are always portrayed poorly in movies. Always. It's just like cringy and like stupid, and that's not how bullies actually act. The only good example I can think of would be Flash in the first Spider-Man movie, where it's believable and it makes sense. And maybe it's a bit forced, but it's believable and you don't roll your eyes at it. When you hear them say stuff like, are you some kind of freak? That's not how bullying works.
He asked if you are a freak.
There's always the stereotype of the crony who repeats what the bully said, and it's like,
back off.
Yeah, that's so weird. I don't know what his face is doing. It's like the if you ever watch like animations of animators like cycling a face through all of its motions to like whatever. It looks like it's not supposed to be in the movie. His face does like a little like a readjustment and then he speaks. It's so weird.
Back.
Oh, there's that audio stinger. Oh, it's dramatic, and it's just as corny as the scene I'm watching.
We're all freaks. Whole family.
Okay, this is the first time he's reacting to being called a freak, and he's reacting as if he's Marty being called chicken. This would have made more sense if he had been called freak a couple different times by a couple different people, and if he reacted adversely, so we know that this is a trigger for him.
Asshole.
What?
Asshole.
Get it! Alright. You're a drunk asshole!
He is an asshole.
That's not really a nice word to call a person, is it?
Asshole?
That could make someone very angry.
You behave like an asshole.
Just want to ask you to lay off from a little bit.
Why asshole?
You're gonna stop calling me that.
Asshole.
Call me an asshole. One more time.
I know this hand is funny. Look, I'm a freak. Alien. But I can do something really cool. First I ball it up real tight like this. Okay? Then...
My note here says, the insinuation that Na'vi have never thought to throw a punch, even if true, is retarded. So now this character, Kiri, is watching the movie with us.
Oh, stupid!
Yeah, it bothers me. His tail motion doesn't make sense. If you're like not watching the scene, right, you don't know what's happening, and you see his tail doing this, what do you think he's feeling, right? Excitement? Maybe nervousness? No. Actually, he's angry. The body language of the tail doesn't match what's actually happening.
Tail language. You know what straight up means and still means?
Alert.
Yes. They could have done that, which wouldn't make sense, but be better than this. This is like, I'm moving around thinking, maybe like short, straight little, like angry, something like that.
I'm pretty sure the tails are supposed to be sentient or something weird like that.
I don't think they thought about it at all. Oh yeah, lambus bread.
Look. More lambus bread.
Snap Zoo.
That might be the only title card I noticed, Three Brothers Rocks. I was like, oh, there are 3 rocks. They've been putting subtitles on the hand language, but they didn't put it on there, which, I mean, I guess we're just meant to understand that means let's get out of here, but they didn't tell me what to think, so I guess I'll put my own subtitles on.
This is sad. Very sad only.
Yeah, in the first movie, they made it a point that killing animals is sad and like a sin, basically. But this movie, they pretty much dropped it. As long as they're killing the animals, it's okay. They don't even have to show respect to the animals like they did in the first one. If the humans kill it, it's bad. But when they kill the animals, it's fine.
They don't care about fish. Kind of like how in
Fish
real
aren't
life,
people.
Environmentalists don't care about fish.
The animal rights do not extend this far. Whales, those sized and shaped fish are important, but the ones we want to kill are not important.
Sized and shaped fish.
Snap Zoo.
This pissed me off too. For some reason, the predator gives up on chasing a bleeding, wounded, slow prey to turn around and go for something else. I can't think of any predator that just naturally does that. It doesn't make sense. If you wanted the predator to turn around to chase whoever this kid's name is, I don't care. Like, let the other thing get away or something. I can't think of any reason why it would just stop pursuing it like that. Other than that, it's arbitrary and the plot needs to happen, and it's just lazy and stupid. Oh yeah, so this is recreated from the first movie, basically. So our protagonist is running from a big predator, and he has to go hide in a tree while the predator bites at the tree. Only this is like way longer and more annoying. It goes on for like 2 minutes or something. But the moral of the story is, this is, I guess, an homage to the first movie.
Again, it's like poetry. So if they poetry.
Did you know that when you drop a knife underwater, it makes a knife sound? So this whale, at least from here, actually looks a lot like the Sea Emperor from that Subnautica game, which is really cool. Not the movie. This movie sucks, but the creature it's practically ripping off, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's ripping off. Point is, if this was a Sea Emperor, we're like, yeah, but it's not, so I don't care about it.
What are you, some kind of freak? Hey, Zach.
What are they trying to show me?
I've seen this before.
I feel her, Dad.
So this is show and then tell. She's like, I feel her, Dad. And you're like, do you? I had no idea. I only seen it like 5 or 6 times already.
I know you think I'm crazy.
I rolled my eyes when I heard that. I'm like, he's literally the least likely person of everyone to think you're crazy. He's already been
the chosen one.
He's literally been through all that already. So it's so stupid. And she would know that he's been through that. You're just like, oh my. Oh, I missed the part where we're swimming with the animals. But she exists in AWOL because that's how she died. She connected.
But so does this microscope. That microscope exists in AWA.
The microscope is with AWA now.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, well, this area is clearly significant. It'll show up later in the movie. And then it didn't. I was like, well, then it'll clearly show up in a later movie. If this area doesn't show up in a future movie, then this is completely pointless.
Who was my father?
She's like Ray. She's like, who are my parents?
Let me see them. My parents.
It looks so dumb to me for some reason. It looks like a PlayStation 3 game or something. I don't know. Just imagine it ripping her braid off.
What is wrong? What is it?
I don't care.
Yeah, we don't care about the kids at all. And we were talking about that. And I think what I ended up thinking was we've only ever seen the kids in a burden capacity. They've only ever been annoying or disobedient or unhelpful. We never got any time really, aside from those 24 seconds with the one kid where the parents are, I mean, I know the family were together for like a little bit. We had like this 2 or 3 minute montage maybe of the family, but we don't see the family through the majority of the film being a good family, really. It's just mostly drama, and the kids are like resentful of everything, and it's like, well, I don't care about these assholes. I think what the writer wants to do is pass the torch from our previous protagonist to the kids, but there's no passing of the torch. It's Torch is kind of doing his own thing in the movie, and then the kids are doing their own thing. There's no unity and there's no passing. When I saw this, I was like, wait, how do they contact the human avatar guys? And if they can contact them, they have to assume that whatever method they use to contact them can be picked up by the bad guys, which does get answered. The bad guys do pick it up.
Long-range patrol picked up a radar hit. A rogue gunship.
That's fair, narratively, I guess. Like, you need to give some kind of clue inadvertently to the bad guys. Well, there's an emergency that caused us to have to reach out, and then therefore it made us vulnerable, but we needed to do it. So I think it could have been explained a little bit better, a bit more of, we need help, but if we call for help, they'll find us. Like, she's worth more than that or whatever, so we're gonna, okay, like, it's like there's more. I don't know. It wasn't as stupid as I thought it was gonna be because they more or less did answer it.
Plugging into the spirit tree is some sort of a trigger.
That guy was 100% not talking to anybody in that moment.
No, he wasn't. He was in a green screen. But like in a later movie, there's supposed to be a situation where she has to connect to get some information because it's important to her, even though people tell her not to. And then she does it anyway, and she has a seizure, but she survives and gets the information that she needs. Now, if there is no connection and no seizure in a future movie, this is more pointless stuff.
Okay, this one. I see you.
See, he's teaching him how to speak the language.
You're gonna have to kill me!
I'd rather die than help you. Actually, let me help you.
He didn't mean it. He was joking. So this really pissed Zach off with the spider guy teaching the bad guy how to speak Na'vi. I know why they're doing it. They're trying to endear you to the fact that he might be starting to bond with his dad and he likes it. But no, there's no advantage. There's no pressure for him to teach them Na'vi. The only bit we got that suggested, hey boy, if you don't teach us Na'vi, we're gonna shoot you in the ball sack.
You just went from being our monkey mascot to official interpreter.
Okay, I can understand as a prisoner being forced to be the interpreter, but now I'm just gonna start teaching you stuff and I'm not sabotaging you by teaching you some wrong words. That's ridiculous that wouldn't be what's happening, but what's happening is he's choosing out of the kindness of his heart to teach Na'vi because you're not such a bad guy after all, which is dumb. All right.
Earth is dying. Our task here is to tame this frontier. Nothing less than to make Pandora the new home for humanity. But before we can do that, We need to pacify the hostiles.
Yeah, so I fail to understand why, if the purpose now of this movie is to make Pandora the new home for humanity, why it's so important to kill Jake Sully. Presumably, Jake Sully is the leader of the Na'vi. Okay, I gotta actually think about this, because I think the answer is it's dumb, but let me try. Humanity's like, okay, we want to take over the planet, but to do that, we need to kill Jake Sully. Or, we're taking over the planet, but while we're at it, we want Jake Sully dead. Okay. Later, they have Jake Sully in their gun sight. So it's like, dude, just shoot him. That's your job. But then he's like, if you shoot now, they attack.
You hit them now, they attack.
Okay, so what if they attack? What do you care about killing Na'vi? You've had no problem with it. It just seems like what you're trying to do is take over the planet while killing the least amount of them possible. And you seem to think that the Na'vi are somehow a greater threat as a whole if Jake lives, like he's leading them all, which he's not in this movie. He's not leading them. The first movie he was, so maybe they could be making that mistake.
You hit them now, they attack. Wait till he's on board.
Best case scenario, your plan works out. You get Jake on the ship privately outside of the side of the Na'vi. You execute him, and the Na'vi are like, oh, where'd he go? Oh, well, he just left us. Like, they're not stupid. They're going to know you killed him, right? So when they find out that you've killed Jake, do you expect them to go, well, I guess since Jake isn't alive, we can't attack, we can't defend ourselves anymore, and I guess we can't be an actual threat. I don't understand why Jake has to be killed. This Jake story, as far as it relates to the humans, seems really inconsequential. The human conquest is going to happen with or without it, so I don't know. I just don't care.
Who's that?
That is no Orcorn.
Everybody! Our brothers and sisters have returned!
Yeah, they clearly know that. That's why they're all jumping into the water. What she made a mistake as a character because she wasn't talking to them. She was talking to us. She was aware. She meant to turn to the camera. Everyone, our brothers and sisters have returned, and that's why they are jumping into the water.
Everybody got that?
I find this footage of swimming Na'vi babies disturbing for some reason. I really don't like it.
What the fuck is that? I'll put my own papyrus subtitle. What the fuck is that ugly monstrosity? That is my child. Of course it is. She is beautiful.
Here's another location tile I didn't notice. Chawani Village. It doesn't matter.
This movie is fundamentally a story of whalers bad.
No.
Whales
close.
good.
You almost got it. Nature good.
Yeah.
Don't move!
Ah. What is that?
What is that?
Don't move!
Don't move! It's like, what happened there? It's clearly like looped in. So they decided we need someone to say this line.
Don't move!
They decided to put that in and it just sounded weird. Oh man. I do believe I'm not the only person to rip on this, but gosh, dude, this is so hard to watch. This guy has to just sit in a green room repeating really weak, repeated dialogue.
Stop! Stop! They don't know anything. They don't know anything. This is wrong. What you're doing here is wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't hurt her. 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 Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
This isn't the only instance where he does it. He does it later and then earlier, and I'm not going to make you watch all of it, but you can just see him or hear him repeating like the one line, don't, this is wrong, stop, don't do this, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's like, come on.
Come on. I'll show you. Come on. I'll show you.
Talk to the corp.
Here's another example of Natiri's raspy voice.
Trap him. Kill him.
What's that face? Where's that gonna go in the spectrum? I don't know. That's a weird green screen shot.
I came up with a dumb plot line, and then I had to ask myself, would that be better than this? So what if, so ready for this, the dumb plot line is, what if the whales all this time were just doing all this friendly stuff to get to eat them?
Yeah, well, as soon as it opened its mouth,
You know?
like, it's just gonna eat him. That's a smart whale.
So what if that was a storyline of this movie? Would that be more interesting than the storyline of this movie?
I want to laugh first. Let me do that. Okay, now we actually think about that question.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I'm not kidding you.
No, let me think. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's retarded, but it might be better.
Legitimately.
Let me think. Yes.
It would be better.
It's better. Then the twist is the whales are bad.
Yeah.
And now one of our characters just died, and we did not see it coming.
Yeah.
And there are consequences. And now I don't know where the movie's going, because I know where it's going right now. We gotta stop the whalers. I was like, now we gotta stop the whales. I was like, it's better. Maybe it's not good.
Yeah.
But it's better.
I'll deal with this one.
This baffled me. He's like, I'll deal with this one. Cut to, he doesn't deal with this one. Cut to, there's no consequences for it whatsoever.
By the Tulkun way he is, we must tell my father.
She does a flip-flop in 5 seconds. She goes from, he's guilty to, let's go tell your dad about how innocent he actually is. This is probably the most stereotypical stupid teenager dialogue.
He doesn't understand anything. The whole clan hates me.
He doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand anything.
He doesn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't notice this until my most recent viewing, but he slaps ass.
Slap ass! Hustle!
There's no consequence for that. I guess other than that to show he's a bad guy, because slapping ass, I guess, is only something bad guys do. I guess that's why it's in the movie. It's just kind of weird.
Snap zoom. Snap zoom.
Ugh, I hate these two characters. They're here to explain to the audience what we're watching because they have failed at making a movie that shows you things. So now we have to have these two people, the scientist guy and the harpoon guy, explaining what we're watching. It's like, oh my gosh.
We're gonna cut the cow from the rest of the pod using this sound cannon.
Everybody got that?
See, we go in from below, where there's gaps in the armor.
Everybody got that?
See the bag, slow her down and keep her up at the surface.
Everybody got that?
Explosive tipped harpoon.
Snap zoom.
Zach pointed this out and it's hilarious. Yeah. My brain was like, hey, you know that sound.
They have music, philosophy, mathematics, complex language.
They have libraries, gas stations,
Cures for all kinds of disease. Gas stations.
Dollar Generals.
This stuff just happens to stop human aging, like, stops it.
I don't even want to try to explain how dumb that is. It's not important. But neat. Someone decided, hey, these birds dive in the water. Look at this one back here. Bloop. There you go. Put that on the sad spectrum.
You gotta understand how the sky people think.
You can't. I get it's okay to have characters stutter, but that just sounded like maybe omit that.
You gotta.
They all do this face, and I guess that's a cultural or whatever, because he's not the only one doing it. But when he does it, he looks really dumb. I also know for a fact I'm not the only person to have pointed this out, but it still stuck out when I watched the movie. I was like, ugh.
Have to one PyCon about the pingers.
Pingers?
Pingers!
What's with them and penis?
Have to one PyCon about the
pingers.
Yeah, put that one on the scale too. So at this point in the movie, me and Zach were talking about how none of this feels magical like the first movie did. And I think the problem is that this movie reveals nothing new. It's all the same stuff you've seen in the first movie, which kind of alludes to what I was talking about them homaging too many things to the point where they're just copying their first movie. I'm trying to think what's new. At least like the first movie had floating islands. You know, that's new. This movie is water. Whoa. The floor is all wet. Yeah, so the way of wet really has nothing new to share. So aside from the fact that we've already seen the world, there's nothing new. There's no magic in this movie. Not only do we have nothing new to show you, we're going to take longer to not show you those things.
Snap zoom.
I was like, why don't they sneak away right now? Because they wait until they're spotted to leave. Like right now, they don't know where you are. Leave, sneak away. But they just sit there thinking they're not going to get... I don't know. I don't know why they don't just sneak away right now.
Snap zoom.
A special effect is a pretty neat thing, but a special effect without a story is pretty pointless.
Is that George Lucas?
George Lucas, yeah.
He said that?
Something like that. And people quote that a lot when they're criticizing movies.
A special effect without a story is a pretty boring thing.
That scare you? Are you scared? You're like, whoa. It sounds more like he fell off of something or got punched instead of getting pushed out of the way. Imagine you're walking down a busy street and you push someone and he goes,
Snap zoom.
I took you under my wing, Jake. You betrayed me. I'm not that man.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He doesn't actually feel that way.
Stabs his fish. I thought he was getting his fury to put it down forcefully.
Sound you made.
Hey, into your face. I'll put that on the scale. So we didn't need this show, but this is an example of show and not tell. You can see the whale being angry. We could have we could have inferred as much based on what we saw of his past, so this is not necessary. Although it would have been really funny if Jake just came in to start narrating over this. The whale was so angry that he started to hit things because of how mad he was.
Snap zoom.
So why are they using those tiny, weak mech suits instead of the mech suits they were using in the first movie that were stronger and carried bigger guns?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe
they don't need bigger ones right now. But if those weak ones are super cost efficient, why aren't all the humans there wearing them? Oh my gosh, is she gonna shoot the? I remember, but is she gonna shoot the driver of that?
Yes!
Snap zoom.
Maybe 15 bullets just blew up a boat with that. Overpowered gun, please nerf. Also, because it's an action movie, things have to blow up. I don't like how those boats just keep blowing up. 3 of them blow up. That's the first one. This looks so cartoony and dumb to me. And of course, it has to blow up. Oh, another bird's taking off. She's gonna do it again.
Yeah!
Snap zoom. Snap zoom. Snap zoom.
She's literally pulling a Ray Palpatine right here. She just goes on using her powers with no problems. This boat blows up because it has to. These boats kind of suck. This guy reacts to being hit before he actually gets hit. And that's normally okay if you see the punch coming, because you could argue that he's about to try to dodge it, but he doesn't see it coming and he still reacts before it happens, so it looks dumb. He makes eye contact directly with the camera. He's self-aware. Oh, man. Okay, so if the whales are so smart, why in the heck haven't they communicated to each other, hey, if you get harpooned, pull the boat down, or let's just knock out the boats? I guess the defense would be that the whales don't kill, but surely they'd be intelligent enough to incapacitate or immobilize the boats or something. But the fact that they haven't communicated this seems dumb. This was so stupid that it made me laugh. So the movie has gone from a relatively funny joke with the camera flash that made me laugh to a joke that wasn't funny, it didn't make me laugh, to something that wasn't supposed to be funny that did make me laugh.
I can't believe I'm tied up again.
See that kid saying I'm tied up again? Like, yeah, that's like weird tired of it too.
Snap zoom. Snap zoom.
I want to go home.
I had a problem with this dialogue. It's not bad at all. It's fine. I get they're going for the haunting end, but I think maybe they should have gone for the more good soldier, brave kid end, where he says something else like,
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry, sir. Or like, you know, that would have been, I think that would have been more sad, because the haunting effect he went for, I don't think worked. But, you know, he's the perfect kid, right? And he thinks he is a disappointment when he wasn't. You know, I think that would have worked better. Okay, I'm re-recording this because I didn't do a good job explaining this, but the biggest narrative problem with the movie is the kids. We don't care about them. They don't show a positive relationship, and they don't show enough of a positive relationship with this perfect son. Now, what they had done could have worked, because in the beginning they set this up. Materia says to Jake, you're treating them like a squad. If we had continued that narrative thread all the way up to here, and this perfect son dies now as the perfect soldier, instead of saying something family like I want to go home, says something like, I'm sorry, sir. That would have been like really cold and reflective of how Jake had been treating his family as a whole, especially the perfect soldier kid who dies on his watch. And then Jake could have had his character arc for the movie being realizing his family is more than just a squad and he needs to value them more. That could have worked. They set it up. They didn't do anything with it. It just failed. And if you're going to go for the I want to go home, you have to develop that relationship way more. You got to spend a lot more time on that, at least with just those two characters, to make us care. Like, we don't care about home any more than he supposedly does, so there's just nothing here. This is an interesting one. This one's on the yeah, he's just in a room by himself watching his career or something. All right, put this face on the scale. Here's something they kind of are copying from the first movie. In the first movie, he throws a satchel, whatever, into the ship's engine, and this time he throws a grenade into the ship's missile, so.
Snap zoom, snap zoom, snap zoom, snap zoom, snap zoom, snap zoom.
Look at this one. Put this face on the scale. That's really damn angry.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I wonder if they're doing something. I don't want them to do something with his character. I don't want him to be Prince Zuko.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. Jake is the Avatar. He's Aang. And then his opposite is Zuko, who is bad, but he becomes good in the end. They face a greater evil, and by the fourth movie. That's where they're trying to go, and I don't want it.
Snap zoo, snap zoo, snap zoo.
We're rolling over!
Everybody got that?
Like I said last time, it loves itself.
That's what you said. I hate a movie that loves itself. That's the perfect synopsis of this movie. Thank you, Zach. We found it. I got the thing out of your brain that I wanted. You did it.
Okay.
We had to watch almost the whole movie to get there.
Yeah.
I hope it was worth it.
I hate a movie that loves itself, but he's still alive somehow.
And he doesn't like suffocate even though he's knocked out, because when you go unconscious, guess what happens?
You breathe.
Breathing is a non-sympathetic function, therefore you would just start breathing and then you would choke and suffocate. And you have at least a little bit of pneumonia. I was like, that's a weird way to kill him off.
They killed him the way of water.
Damn it.
It all comes back. All comes back around. It's a cycle.
Bravo, Ginsvilligan.
I don't know how many times it's happened, but here's another nature shot. I don't know if it's a fault of the actor or the animation, but there's just no emotion or expression in his eyes when he should be expressing something when he says this.
Can't lose you too, Dad. Please.
I can't lose you too, Dad. Please. Zach.
What's happening?
Okay, so she can control the animal fishes and stuff, and the animal fishes know where her family is. So why doesn't she just send the oxygen wing fish to where her family are?
So yeah, it would make sense for her to give the oxygen to her mom, who is the one least familiar with the way of water, and then she grabs and leads it. That would make sense.
She's familiar with the path of the forest.
Yes.
Which is different than the way of water. The next movie is going to be Avatar: The Direction of the Desert.
Family and I will move on tomorrow.
My family and I are so sick of the way of water.
It's done! Woo! That's the best part of the movie. It's over. Thank God. Tits and ass, man. It's an ass. What a waste. What a waste of your time. What a waste of potential. What a waste of talent. What a waste. Hey man, if you like this movie, that's very cool. That doesn't mean the movie is good. This movie is a lot like the first one, but it's actually worse. Not that the first movie was so bad, it's just this one isn't as good because it offered nothing new and it took more time to tell you nothing. I regret and I'm very resentful and sad the fact that I had to go out and buy a copy of this movie just so that I could talk about it, because it wasn't worth my money either. It's not the worst movie in the world. It's nice to look at, but that's about it.
That's about it.
This is probably the most expensive screensaver that exists. So put it on your TV in the background if you don't want to look at a black wall. And that's how I feel about it. And this is how I'm going to rate it.
Five out of 10. Eye candy.
Are you upset?
I am upset.
He was upset.
I'm sorry. I thought I warned you before we watched it that it wasn't going to be very good.
It wasn't worth watching. It was such a waste of time. Don't ever ask me to be your friend and watch a movie with you ever again.
After he told me to never be his friend and watch a movie with him ever again, I realized then that watching these movies and making dumb videos is something no one should have to do. Certainly not my friend Zach, who was upset because I asked him to watch a movie with me and be my friend, and he didn't like it. I know now as I sit alone by myself with no one else that I must take on this task alone.
Here's your phone back.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome, pal.
Not